ingredients itself is the flour. You mix it with the butter, that would be called roux. We also have a white rock wash, and it's also called a slurry as well. So you guys always use a roux? Is that what
in any thick sauce, we absolutely will use a butter-based roux. Not only does the salted butter add a lot of flavor, but it's more of a consistent product, whereas a slurry, you typically have to cook the flavor out. The butter adds a component to the sauce, whereas a slurry or we definitely wouldn't use an egg-based as a thickener because it would coagulate the sauce. It's not the flavor profile we're looking for. So in this case, we actually use a blonde roux, which is just butter and the flour mixed together, heated up together and mixed together well. Make sure it's well incorporated so that fat adds flavor, absorbs all that flour, and lets that starch develop how it should correctly in the sauce. So very simple, 2 components of roux. What we're going to do is just cut the butter so that it melts much easier in the pan. And then you want your butter 100% melted before you add your flour. And then you want to always use a whisk to make sure that they're incorporated very, very well.
First you want to get the pan all nice and hot so that way it'll melt the butter.
you said that blonde roux? What's the difference between a blonde roux? What other roux are there?
There's a brown roux and then there's also a dark roux. The blonde roux is just a little bit lighter than the brown roux. You don't cook it nearly as much. The brown roux is just a little bit darker, and then the dark roux is darker than that. It's just cooked a little bit longer.
Halfway. So we're doing our flour, and Chef Nick is going to come over here, and there's the whisk for us. There we go. Now, how much flour should we add to
Usually do about 3 cups of flour to a pound of butter. You want to make sure that the butter is completely melted before you add the flour, so that way you don't get all clumpy.
What should this look like after I'm done? I know you're going to cook for us right now. What are some different things that you should have it more loose, or should it be more thick?
It's going to become thick. It's going to be a nice thick texture, a little bit grainy.
Probably more like a pancake style.
Or a pancake style.
Shiny.
Shiny.
Should have a very nice shine to it.
Now, is this one of your signature dishes here? I mean, is this one of your dishes that you sell a lot of this here?
Yes, sir. For CJ's Manchester and CJ's Laconia, absolutely. It's a signature dish. We have guests that come in specifically for this dish. It's a great thing for fall or winter, and it's also great for the spring or the summer because it's got that heat to it. So it's an all year long dish. People are huge fans of it. It's a great portion with a side of grilled andouille sausage. It's awesome, and it's definitely a dish that people enjoy and people ask for.
Right. Now, do you have other similar dishes to this one? I mean, you sell a lot of seafood at T-Bones, Cactus Jack's, or
Absolutely. We use all prime seafood. We have great haddock tacos, our signature item through CJ's, Laconia, and Manchester, which is where we fry our fresh line-caught haddock. And it's actually a very unique recipe, and it's awesome. It's definitely an item that guests come back for over and over. It actually won a Phantom Gourmet award in the past. We have pan blackened catfish. We have Cajun fish tacos. A lot of very fresh seafood, all with that Louisiana-style southern, Cajun flavor to it, which I think is very unique for the state of New Hampshire. And we're good at it, so people come in for it.
Sounds great. Sounds great.
All right, you want to turn the heat down just a little bit on that? And for when I cook roux, because there's different flavors of roux, once my flour and my butter is incorporated, or my flour and my fat is incorporated completely, I'll just actually take it off the heat totally, because as that roux stays on the fire, on the stove, it'll continue to cook, and that's when you're going to start developing your darker roux. And the more that roux cooks, the more of a nutty flavor that the roux will develop, and that's not the flavor profile we're looking for in our gumbo today. So we'll make sure that roux stays blonde and it looks awesome. Thank you very much.
Another thing too that I find out with roux is that you never want to thickening a soup or you're thickening a stock, you never want to add a hot roux to a hot stock. Okay, because all that what happens is you get these little dumplings, they call roux balls, that float around inside the stock. It's not very good. So you do want to shut that out for a while and let it cool.
Yes, absolutely. Classically, what we'll do with the roux is we took what we have so far as our product, that will be the seafood gumbo, off the heat. So that's still very hot, and we want to make sure we maintain that real hot temperature, obviously for sanitation purposes, and we temper it throughout the whole process. And just like Patrick said, we're going to pull that roux off, let it get to room temperature minimum, if not even a little bit chillier. And what you want to do to develop a roux correctly, or to thicken the sauce correctly, is make sure that sauce isn't boiling or simmering. Keep it off the heat. We want to bring it back up to a boil, turn it off completely, which we've already done at this point. Add the roux, let the roux sit for 3 to 5 minutes, let that starch develop. You want to make sure that you break down the starch from the outside in. From the inside out. So if you put a roux in a real hot sauce, the outside of that starch will cook first, which doesn't allow the inside of the starch to kind of ooze out and get that real thickening agent that we want in the sauce. So that's why it's very important to do as well.
Alright, so what we've done here is we've actually we've turned off the stock, and we've actually added our roux so that we have this nice thick consistency to it. And what the roux does, once again, when you're making a soup and you're making a sauce, that roux will thicken your sauce. So we've added the roux, shut it down, and we're just letting it cool for a little bit.
This is our roux.
There we go. I'll stir this for you. We'll just add that roux right in there.
We want to make sure that this gumbo is nice and thick, nice consistency, but not too thick that it tastes like a stew.
Simmer that for a little bit more until it gets thickens up and all those starch is released into the roux. And after this, we're just going to add some crayfish, and we're going to add some more catfish. Alright, so what we have here is we have a little bit of our crayfish, and we're just going to add some of this right in there. Crayfish is a typical to Cajun cooking, and we also have some catfish. Okay, this catfish and the crayfish add some nice rich flavors, really nice fresh flavors. It's excellent. We're going to let that simmer, and as we simmer, it's also going to bring a little bit of a little flavor from that fish into the gumbo. But at the same time, we're not going to simmer it too much because we don't want to make sure that the fish tears apart. We want to try to keep them as whole as possible, but at the same time present a nice dish.
So, what's the importance of breading the seafood?
Well, the reason that we toss the seafood in flour is because we want to make sure that it gets a nice coating. The seafood has moisture to it. We're going to allow that moisture to absorb that flour on the outside. That way when we heat it in our butter, not only does the seafood absorb that nice butter flavor, but what happens is once we put the sauce from our dish mixed with that seafood, all of that sauce clings right to that flour that's stuck on the outside. It allows it to not only coat it and give it a nice thick coating, but it also allows it to keep all that sauce and all the flavor with the sauce sticks right on the outside of that, so every bite you get has lots of flavor.
Right now you can see the butter starting to get really nice and hot, so what you want to do is you want to add your product now.
We can do that.
As you can see, it's going to start to sizzle up, and it's going to start to cook.
A lot of people think when they hear saute, they go, "Oh, you gotta flip it over, you gotta do this and that." You gotta let it sit and just let it cook. You gotta let the browning happen. It's gonna brown up all nice. It's gonna caramelize. It's gonna be really nice crisp. So you just want to let that do its thing for a minute. gets to this point when they're getting nice and brown, you can see them starting to cook through. What you're gonna want to do